Hey, Amber Anderson here, and I'm super excited. I'm here with Andrew Ewald with CBRE. We're going to be talking about what's going on in downtown San Diego. Of course, we're going to get our commercial market update, see what new jobs are coming to San Diego, and much more, so stay tuned. So Andy, thank you for being with me. And I just want to point out to our viewers, because we did this about, I think it was the very last quarter of 2020, and it was very, very informative. I got such a lot of gratitude messages for, hey, thanks for keeping us in the loop of what's going on in the commercial markets. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'm going to put a link so that you can go back and check it out. But I definitely wanted to take a moment, Andy, to have you introduce yourself, let us know what CBRE is all about here in San Diego.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for allowing me to jump on and chat with you and your audience. My team is focused on what we call occupier services. So we're here to support business owners, CEOs, CFOs, executives on making business decisions that support the growth around their particular businesses. In addition, CBRE, for record, is the largest commercial real estate company, not only in San Diego, but throughout the world with over 110,000 employees. So it's really nice to understand how San Diego market data compares to some of the nationals and some really positive things about what's happening in our market. So pleased to be on the call with you, and thank you for having me.
And if you're ever, for the viewers in UTC, that's where Andy's beautiful office is, which I don't know how many people's in your office right now, but you guys were kind of groundbreaking and very innovative when you guys went into that space and it was so awesome to be able to experience that a couple times, and hopefully we will get to in the very near future. But it was so informative last month or I should say last quarter when we did this, that I was getting these text messages like, hey Amber, I know our real estate market is going crazy, but what is going on in the commercial world? And with regards to the residential side, you know, I often say real estate is like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but it seems like this first quarter of 2021 has been something many were not expecting. I mean, multiple offers. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact right now, I think we're sitting at about 2,200 homes available for sale. Compared to a year ago, it was around 4,300 compared to the year prior, closer to 9,000. So it's obvious we have an inventory crunch, which is really causing this buyer frenzy, which I think as interest rates go up this year, we're going to start to see that slow down. We have an economist at Sothebys that every month kind of goes over our numbers, and they're really pointing at May of this year, 2021 being kind of that peak for that seller to really get kind of the most, if you want to sell that stock high, because once we see interest rates continue to increase, naturally more sellers will come on the market. And just like in 2013, we saw a little bit of a slowdown, average market time went up, but it was no crash or anything that, you know, people were looking at the whole market change. So I'm curious to hear what's going to be going on in your perspective for the commercial market this year. So tell us what you got.
Well, I think that what's happening in the commercial sector, or just I think our global market is impacting your business in a very positive way, right? Last year, as businesses really mandated work from home, it freed up, employers and their employees to really think differently about where they worked, and their home became almost their biggest asset. So those people that were in a New York or in a San Francisco or in a Los Angeles have now taken the opportunity to look to places where they can enjoy a better lifestyle or have the freedom to work when and how they want, which I think why places like Lake Tahoe, for example, or San Diego, where people are seeing this really nice balance of, one, I can still get a beautiful home, probably 30% less than a Bay Area or Los Angeles, but now this way of life is become a little bit more important. The trailing part of that is how do the businesses, kind of support the growth of these entrepreneurs and large companies. I tend to be very bullish on San Diego. When you think of fundamentals that are coming out of not only the way of life and how we would like to live, but UCSD is a major driver in labor, which is now bringing a ton of life science, early stage employees or tech related companies, where probably 4 or 5 years ago, 70% of that labor was looking to leave San Diego and go to other markets. Now we're seeing the trend of that there's enough large employees and enough opportunities for these, smart people coming out of college to now stay here and reside in San Diego.
Are there any companies in particular, Apple or Google, any of those larger ones coming to San Diego now that you're seeing?
Yeah, so Apple has been the biggest player over the course of the last 2 years with about 1 million square feet underfoot and still looking for some additional space. Their goal is to basically pull back on a contract that's been with Qualcomm for the chip and to do a lot of the other things around 5G, the Internet of Stuff that's kind of combining a lot of our businesses in San Diego. But we believe their goal would be to have 3,000 to 4,000 employees in San Diego over the course of the next 10 years. There's some really exciting kind of smaller companies that are doubling and tripling in size. I mean, we call those unicorns when they get to $1 billion valuation. Going back 4 or 5 years, we really only had some unicorns on the life science sector. We're starting to see more and more groups here on the software or the tech side of it. For example, Too Simple is a high growth company that's working on autonomous driving. You've got some other exciting groups called Seismic and Reba and Telium that are all in kind of this data, sales, management, and software type program that have chosen to really make San Diego their headquarter hub, which is great for all of us.
Now, are they still planning for people to come into the office, or are you seeing that they're truly going to, kind of just continue on with this at-home workplace?
Yeah, so 2 different schools of thought, right? If you're a software traditional office user, you are eager to bring people back into the office space. I think we all have realized we can work nicely from home, but with kids or distractions or just needing to collaborate, it's important for us to really be back in the workplace. So we're actually seeing employers that are very eager to try to figure out solutions, albeit they'll have to be substantially more flexible to bring their employees back in the office. Flexible working from home is not going away. So that's been a pretty dramatic shift. So when we talk with business owners, it's saying, well, let's still have a really uniquely designed office space, but maybe we allow people to be more flexible within it or to work from home for a period of time. It's really about understanding what's important for those business owners. Younger companies, they really want to be together. They're trying to learn, they're trying to evolve. A more tenured business, kind of has their pipeline prepared and knows how to collaborate and is not as dependent on the office environment for culture or collaboration. But I don't think that office space is going away. We might see a slight reduction, maybe 20 to 30% of what people require, but more flexibility, right? Our office space, for example, in UTC is 100% free address. There's no assigned seats, there's no assigned, workstations or offices. Allows for us to still utilize the space creatively when we need to for our business. Now, if you're on science or medical device or e-commerce, the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world, you never stopped. This last year has been one of your best year ever as consumer spending has shifted. And so when you think of industrial manufacturing, e-commerce in San Diego, it's been a phenomenal year, leaving little to no space available for those types of companies, to grow, which is good and bad.
Good and bad. And, it's exciting when I've got people in town that are not from San Diego and I'm kind of driving them around and I'm giving them the tour. And then I get to downtown and I start sharing just the amazing things that are on the horizon for us. Do you have any updates with regards to the biotech campus or even the GAFCON project or anything new, even the Horton Plaza kind of transformation?
Yeah, so the delay in some office growth in San Diego and the uptick in life science growth has certainly shifted some very large players to downtown. So there's IQHQ's land, which is basically right in front of the Midway. They're starting construction there, which will be up to almost 1 million square feet of state-of-the-art life science space. Now that's still probably 3-4 years out. The old Thomas Jefferson law firm building that's closer to the ballpark, that has been purchased by a company called Phase 3, same thing. That's going to be smaller incubator life science companies. And then Kilroy's building that's in Little Italy can go office or life science. So the supply I should also say Horton Plaza as well too, with the ability to get to almost 1 million square feet, is going through some conversion to build up infrastructure which could accommodate, a heavier life science user. So the buildings are there. Right now we just need kind of that big fish catalyst that might pull people into the downtown market. Torrey Pines, Sorrento Valley, UTC is on fire. There's so much activity, about 3 million square feet of life science groups that are actively looking, and only about 1 million square feet of supply available. So do the math, right? They wait for the developments to come in Central. We've seen some that go north to Carlsbad. We're still waiting for those groups that will head to downtown. But I'm certainly bullish on the evolution of downtown. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah, I was in, and I don't know if you've been to Little Italy recently, but that has just completely changed. And it's such a vibrant part of our downtown life, and such great restaurants, very hip and trendy for all those foodies that are out there. When we talk about the commercial real estate market, do you have any feedback with regards? I've had a lot of people ask me about the moratorium with regards to rents, because clearly, even in the residential world, I think they were reporting there's like 8 million people still that are behind, even on the residential side. Is there any kind of clarity? I know it's kind of still a gray area of sorts of what that looks like for evictions.
Yeah, so as of January, the SB 91 was extended until end of June this year. So the moratorium is still in place. The metric is, so long as a tenant is trying to make an effort over the course of a month to pay a minimum of 25% of their rent due, the landlords cannot legally evict them. Now, landlords are still putting their legal paper trail in place with notices of default, unlawful detainers, but the real trigger of when the sheriff could come and lock in a space probably can't happen till June. We'll see if there's an extension. Now, there's some other reasons you could evict a tenant for health and safety reasons. If the lease naturally came to its end, you have the ability to get a tenant out. So we're still a little bit in limbo. On the commercial side, it's been very quiet because the majority of our office and life science industrial users have paid their rent. Retail's a little bit of a different animal. We're starting to see more spaces sit vacant as, many of these kind of smaller restaurants, even operating at 25, 30% capacity, are just struggling to reopen. But on the commercial side, we've seen very few, true evictions happen.
That's great, because I was curious to know if you have anything on your radar. As I've heard a couple people comment, even in the La Jolla area, that they know there's quite a few, tenants that haven't been making their payments, and that does obviously have an impact on the property owners. But it sounds like maybe there's not a major red flag that you guys are kind of seeing, just feedback from your clients overall, that there's anything kind of coming down the pike that we need to be aware of.
No, across not only San Diego, but across the nation, you had about 90% of the tenants that continued to pay their rent. Some restructured their leases on a temporary basis, but the amount of PPP loans that were out there really helped people to weather the storm, and those businesses, I think, have still responded appropriately and still been able to be productive.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Now, just in closing, with regards to what's going on in the commercial space, what is the overall messaging that you're getting from your people and what to expect in 2021?
Well, I think San Diego is going to continue to be a beacon of really interesting talent. And then if the talent's there, it brings the money in. Fourth quarter 2020, we had record year in venture capital. So at the end of COVID, the fourth quarter, we broke records to the tune of $2.6 billion of venture. It came in the quarter alone, 5.6 billion over the course of the year. So if you have the right talent and you have the right kind of seed funding, you're going to continue to see growth. Add in the wonderful attributes that we know about San Diego, like just a really nice place, to work. Plus, we're still kind of 30% below LA, 30%, kind of below the Bay Area, not only for cost of labor, but cost of real estate, both on your side and our side. I really do think that those fundamentals and the research and the science and the intelligence that's coming out of here we're gonna really see not only some big name players grow here, but some really unique local companies that start to compete and become household names. So I think we're very bullish. Vaccines are rolling out. There's some pent up energy for people to get back, collaborate, do business. So hopefully, fingers crossed, there's no fourth wave. Hopefully we've got some nice momentum coming into this year.
Good. Well, I look forward to doing this again. Obviously, we're around in the end of our first quarter, but it'll be curious to track how this year of 2021 is going to look. And I definitely encourage my people to reach out to Andy if you have any questions. He's an amazing resource to us, to our clients. If you have any commercial real estate questions, he's your guy. But more than anything, I appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to doing this again soon.
Yeah, thank you as well. I appreciate the time. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Amber.
Hey there, thanks so much for making it to the end of this video. If you haven't yet, make sure to click that like and subscribe button. And for more content, check out the most recent video here. And how about this other one here that I totally recommend? Ciao, ciao for now. Mwah.